My sister-in-law ruined my wedding dress and cake. I revealed her affair right in front of everyone. So here is what happened at my wedding. My sister-in-law destroyed my wedding cake. Like, completely demolished it. We're talking about 4 tiers, hundreds of handmade sugar flowers that took weeks for the baker to create, all gone. She smashed it with this huge grin on her face and then wrote, "Oops," in the frosting like it was some kind of joke. And you know what I did in response? I smiled back at her and said, "By the way, I have proof of your affair. I have documentation. I have evidence. I have everything." Her face, it literally froze. All the color drained out of it. I watched the moment her mind realized what was about to happen. And what happened next? Well, let me tell you the whole story because this gets absolutely insane. This is not just about a ruined cake. This is about a secret that was about to explode in front of everyone. Okay, so let me back up and give you the full context. My name is Emma, and 3 years ago, my now husband Jake introduced me to his family. Specifically, he introduced me to his older sister, Monica. That first introduction is important because it set the tone for everything that came after. The first thing Monica ever said to me was, "Huh, you are not what I expected." Those were literally her first words to me. Not nice to meet you. Not I have heard so much about you. Not welcome to the family. Just those words with this look, you know. Like she was already disappointed. Like she had built up in her mind exactly who Jake should bring home. And I was falling short before I had even opened my mouth to have a real conversation with her. Here is the thing about Monica that you need to understand to get the full picture. She had this very specific idea of who Jake should marry, someone wealthy, someone connected to important people, someone who could, and I quote exactly what she said, elevate the family's status. Those are her exact words. Elevate the family's status, as if Jake was some kind of financial acquisition that needed to be optimized, as if his happiness mattered less than the optics of who he married. Me. I was an elementary school teacher, making about 40,000 a year. I loved my job. I loved working with children. I loved making a difference in kids' lives. But in Monica's mind, I was basically worthless. Strike one. Strike two came when Jake and I got engaged. Monica immediately offered to host our engagement party. I was actually touched at first, I really was. I thought maybe she was finally coming around. Maybe she had decided that I was okay after all. Maybe she was going to accept me into the family. I was so incredibly wrong about that. She planned the entire thing without asking me a single question. Not one. She did not ask what I wanted. She did not ask who I wanted to invite. She did not ask about my preferences or my vision or anything that actually mattered to me. She booked a country club venue that was expensive and stuffy. She arranged catering for 100 people, even though Jake and I were planning something much smaller and more intimate. She invited half of her friends that I had never even met before. Then she called me up and was like, "Surprise! I have handled everything for your engagement party. Is that not wonderful? Is that not generous?" I had to cancel it. We had already been planning this casual backyard barbecue with our actual friends. The people who actually knew us. The people who we actually loved spending time with. When I told her we were sticking with our original plan, that we were canceling the country club event, she told Jake that I was ungrateful and disrespectful. She went to his father with tears in her eyes, saying that I was rejecting her generosity, that I was making a mockery of her attempt to welcome me into the family. Strike three happened when it was time to go dress shopping for my wedding gown. Monica made an appointment at her friend's boutique. This was a super high-end place where wedding dresses literally started at $12,000. $12,000. That was not even in the realm of possibility for me. I went to be polite. I did not want to create more conflict. I tried on a few dresses, and they were beautiful. I am not going to deny that. But I could not spend $12,000 on a dress. That would have been like spending a third of my annual salary at the time. That was insane. That was not responsible. That was not even possible for me. So I found this gorgeous dress online. It was absolutely stunning. I loved everything about it. The way it fit, the way it made me feel, the way it looked in the pictures, and it was $350, which is a reasonable amount to spend on a dress that you will wear once. Jake loved it when I showed him pictures. He thought it was perfect. My mom cried when she saw it on me in person. Real tears of happiness. Monica? She called Jake, not me, Jake. She told him that I was purposely trying to humiliate the family. She said, "What will people think when they see her in a cheap dress? They will think we are poor." She actually said that. Like the appearance of wealth was more important than anything else. Like the judgment of strangers mattered more than her brother's happiness with his bride. The next few months of wedding planning were absolute hell, honestly. I cannot describe it any other way. Every single decision I made, Monica had a problem with it. She had concerns. She had objections. She had suggestions that were really demands in disguise. I picked roses for the bouquets because I loved the way they looked and the symbolism behind them. She ordered orchids behind my back and had them delivered to the florist. I found out when the florist called asking me why there were orchids arriving when I had specifically ordered roses. I booked a DJ that I loved because I had seen him perform at other weddings and his music selection was perfect. He understood exactly what kind of vibe I wanted. Monica called him and canceled him without telling me. Then she hired a string quartet instead because apparently that was more sophisticated. A string quartet at a wedding where everyone wanted to dance and celebrate. I chose a photographer whose style I absolutely loved. His work was artistic. It was emotional. It captured real moments instead of stiff-posed pictures. Monica said that her friend who photographed her wedding was so much better and that I should use him instead. Like my preferences did not matter at all. And Jake, bless him, he backed me up every single time. He went to bat for me with his sister. He would tell her no when she tried to make changes. He would defend my decisions, which only made Monica angrier. Like, how dare her little brother choose his fiancée over her? How dare he prioritize my vision for my own wedding? How dare he side with me instead of automatically taking her side? The week before the wedding, she tried one last time to sabotage things. We were all at dinner together, just a family dinner, and she goes, "I have been thinking. Maybe you two should postpone. Just to give yourselves more time to prepare properly." Like we had not been planning this for months. Like we were not completely ready. Jake was like, "Mom, everything is already planned. Everything is taken care of. We are ready to go." And Monica goes, "Well, yes, but everything is so perfect." And she said perfect with the specific tone of voice, you know. The kind of tone that makes the word sound like an insult. Then she started listing everything wrong with my wedding in this passive-aggressive way. She said, a church basement reception, grocery store flowers, a cake from nobody knows where. That cake comment, that one hurt in a way that nothing else had, because I had actually splurged on the cake. I had saved up for it. I had made the decision to invest in something really special for the dessert. Mrs. Anderson is this amazing local baker. She is known for her work. She has won awards. She is a true artist when it comes to cakes. She made us this stunning 4-tier vanilla and lemon cake with hundreds of handmade sugar flowers. Every single flower was made by hand. Every single petal was individual. It was truly a work of art. It cost $2,500, which was the single most expensive thing we bought for the entire wedding. But it was worth it because it was beautiful, and it was made with love, and it was going to be perfect. But Monica assumed it was cheap because it was not from one of her approved vendors, because the baker was local instead of from some fancy distant place, because Monica did not recognize the name. So wedding day finally arrives and I am so nervous and so excited and so many emotions. The ceremony was absolutely beautiful. I walked down the aisle and Jake actually cried when he saw me, like full on tears running down his face. His shoulders were shaking. He was overwhelmed with emotion. It was perfect. It was everything I dreamed a wedding moment could be. You know what was not perfect, though? Monica showing up in a white dress. Not ivory, not cream. Not some neutral color that would not conflict with my dress. My wedding dress white. Like the exact same shade as a bridal gown. She wore a designer gown that probably cost more than our entire wedding budget. It was this expensive, sophisticated designer piece, and it was pure white, and it screamed, "Look at me." When people stared at her during the ceremony, when people were confused about why there were two women in white dresses, she just shrugged and said, "Oh, did I? I must have forgotten about that old rule. Oops." She said oops. Remember that. Remember that she said oops when she deliberately wore a white dress to someone else's wedding. Anyway, the ceremony happens, and it is beautiful regardless, and everyone heads to the reception hall to set up while Jake and I take photos with the photographer. We are taking pictures on the lawn outside. We are doing the formal family photos. We are doing the bride and groom shots. We are trying to capture the joy of the day. About 15 minutes before dinner is supposed to start, the venue coordinator finds me. She looks absolutely panicked. She is pale and shaking. She is like, "Emma, I need you to come to the reception hall right now. There is a problem with the cake." I practically ran there. My heart was in my throat. I was thinking maybe something fell. Maybe there was a temperature issue. Maybe something went wrong with the setup. I was not prepared for what I actually saw. All 4 tiers were pushed over. Not fallen over naturally. Not tipped accidentally. Pushed. Deliberately pushed. The frosting was smeared everywhere across the table. It was a complete disaster. Every single one of those delicate sugar flowers that Mrs. Anderson spent weeks making, crushed into destruction. And there, written in the frosting with someone's finger, was the word "oops." I just could not breathe. I literally could not breathe. My chest felt tight. Jake was trying to comfort me, and he was looking at the destroyed cake in shock. I was trying not to completely break down in front of everyone because we had 60 guests about to show up any minute, and we were supposed to be celebrating. Monica came rushing over. Well, rushing. She had this look of concern on her face that did not quite reach her eyes. It was like she was performing concern. She said, "Oh no, what happened? Did someone knock into it? Kids were running around earlier. Maybe they did this." She was lying right to my face. She was making up excuses. The venue coordinator was trying to figure out what to do. We were trying to figure out if we could salvage anything. And then Mrs. Anderson, the baker, showed up with backup flowers and supplies. Thank God she had made extras. She always prepares extra materials just in case something goes wrong. That is what saved us. That is when Mrs. Anderson said I should check my security footage. She explained that she always sets up a camera to do time-lapse videos of her cake setups for her portfolio. She uses the videos to promote her work and to remember her designs. Monica went pale, like visibly pale. All the blood drained out of her face. She knew what we were about to see. We pulled up the footage right there on someone's phone. We all gathered around and watched. And there was Monica, clear as day, no question about it, looking around to make sure no one was watching, picking up the cake serving knife, carefully, deliberately pushing each tier one by one, then dipping her finger in the frosting and writing "oops" with this huge smile on her face. She was smiling while she destroyed my wedding cake. She was proud of what she was doing. The room went completely silent. Nobody moved. Nobody said anything. We all just stood there watching Monica's face on the screen as she committed this act of deliberate destruction. Jake's mom grabbed Monica's arm. She looked sick. She said, "Monica, how could you? How could you do this? How could you do this to Emma on her wedding day?" And Monica tried to play it off. She was like, "I was just trying to fix it. It was already falling and I was trying to fix it." She was lying. She was caught on video deliberately pushing it, and she was still lying. Jake cut her off. He said, "We can literally see you pushing them, Monica. We can see you writing oops in the frosting. You were smiling. You were doing this on purpose." Now here is where things get really interesting, and this is the part that completely changes the trajectory of everything. For the past few weeks, Monica's husband, let us call him Ryan, had been texting Jake, asking weird questions like, "Does Monica seem different to you? Do you think she might be seeing someone?" He was suspicious. He had noticed things. Ryan had noticed that Monica was barely home anymore. She was being super secretive with her phone. She would grab it and put it face down if anyone walked near her. She was being secretive with her credit cards too. Always getting the mail before Ryan could see it. Always taking calls in private. Disappearing for hours with vague explanations about where she was going. That morning, while Monica was getting ready for the wedding, I had seen a text pop up on her phone. The name on the screen was Marcus. I did not know who Marcus was at that point. But the message said, "Cannot wait to see you next week when Ryan is away." I took a photo of it. Just in case, I did not plan to use it. I did not plan to do anything with it. I just took the photo because some part of me knew that something was wrong. Some part of me knew that this information might be important later. So we are all standing there in the reception hall, watching this footage of Monica destroying my cake. We are watching her push the tears. We are watching her write oops and smile. And Ryan is just standing there, staring at the screen in complete shock. His wife deliberately destroyed my wedding cake. His wife, who had been acting so righteous and superior and judgmental, was also a saboteur. And I do not know what came over me in that moment. Maybe it was the adrenaline. Maybe it was 3 years of her treating me like garbage. Maybe it was seeing my dream cake destroyed and her lying about it to everyone. Maybe it was the built-up frustration of every dismissive comment, every slight. Every time she tried to control my wedding, I turned to Ryan and I said, "You should probably see Monica's phone. Check her texts from Marcus. Check what he has been saying to her." Monica grabbed her purse. She was trying to leave. But Ryan was faster. He had her phone in his hands within seconds. He was not asking permission. He was not waiting. He just took it. And what he found in those texts, the photos, the hotel reservations, all of it. Using Ryan's credit card, plans for trips, messages about how Marcus made her feel alive in ways Ryan never could. Intimate messages, love messages, messages that made it clear they had been together multiple times. Monica tried to grab the phone back, but Jake held her shoulder. We had 60 people watching this unfold in complete silence. The reception hall had gone quiet. Nobody was talking. Everyone was just watching this family drama explode in real time. Ryan just kept scrolling through the texts. His hands were shaking. I could see his hands literally trembling. He was reading through months of communication between his wife and another man. He was reading about dates they had taken, about how they planned to meet up, about the future they were discussing, and then he stopped. He stopped scrolling and he found one message. One specific message that seemed to break him. He read it out loud, his voice barely above a whisper. "I love Marcus more than I ever loved Ryan. Ryan is boring and predictable. Marcus makes me feel like I am actually living." Those were his wife's words, spoken aloud in front of everyone at their wedding reception. Words that expressed how little she loved him, how much she resented being married to him. Monica was screaming that it was fake, that someone hacked her phone, that I had somehow fabricated everything. She was denying it all, even though Ryan had the phone in his hand, even though he was reading the messages directly from her account. But then Ryan found the photos. Monica and some guy I had never seen before, clearly on vacation, kissing, holding hands, looking happy, happy in a way that she had not looked in years with Ryan. The photos were real. The affair was real. Jake's mom tried to get everyone to calm down, to take this conversation somewhere private. She was trying to minimize the damage. She was trying to prevent a complete family meltdown in front of all these guests. But Ryan was done. He was past the point of caring who was watching. Ryan just walked past everyone. He looked directly at Monica, and he told her not to come home that night. He said he was taking the kids. He told her she should not be there when he packed her things tomorrow. He was making decisions. He was protecting his children. Monica completely fell apart at that moment. She completely broke down. She grabbed my arm, her nails actually digging into my skin, leaving marks. She was begging me to tell Ryan that it was all a misunderstanding, that I had made up the texts because I was mad about the cake, that I had fabricated this entire affair story out of spite. But there were photos. There were videos. There were hotel receipts found on Ryan's credit card statements. All of it was real. All of it was documented. She could not deny it. She could not explain it away. The venue coordinator suggested we move everyone to the dining room and try to salvage dinner. Try to move forward with the reception despite everything that had just happened. So that is what we did. Jake and I walked to our table while Monica sobbed in a chair somewhere, surrounded by shocked guests who did not know whether to comfort her or stay away from her. Dinner was surreal, completely surreal. People were trying to act normal, but the energy was wrong. Everyone could feel it. You could hear Monica crying in the other room between courses. Every time someone laughed too loud at the table, everyone would tense up. Everyone would look uncomfortable. Nobody knew how to process what they had just witnessed. My parents kept looking at me with these concerned faces. My mom whispered, "Are you okay?" And honestly, I did not know how to answer that question. I felt so many conflicting emotions all at once. I felt vindicated that Monica finally got caught, that her lies finally caught up with her, that she could not hide who she really was anymore. But I also felt sick watching a marriage implode. I felt sick watching Ryan's face as he read those messages. I felt compassion for Ryan even though he was family of Monica. He did not deserve this. He did not deserve to have his marriage destroyed at his brother-in-law's wedding reception. Halfway through dinner, Jakey's mom came over to our table. She said that Monica wanted to talk to Jake. She said Monica was asking for him. Jake looked at me like, "What do I do? What is the right thing to do here?" I told his mom that Monica made her choices. She cheated on Ryan. She destroyed my cake. She lied repeatedly. She ruined my wedding. I was not going to comfort her. I was not going to be available for her emotional needs. She had made decisions, and now she needed to live with the consequences of those decisions. Jake's mom tried the whole "she is still family" argument. She tried to appeal to my sense of obligation, to my sense of responsibility to maintain family harmony. But I held firm. I did not budge. I said no. She left without another word. We ended up sneaking out a side exit to avoid any more drama. We managed to get to our hotel room, and when we opened the door, there were rose petals on the bed and champagne on ice, and a congratulations card from the hotel saying how honored they were to host our wedding night. And Jake just sat on the bed with his head in his hands. He did not say anything. He just sat there processing everything that had happened. We spent hours talking about his sister. We talked about his family. We talked about what this meant for our future. We talked about how we were going to move forward from this. Instead of celebrating our wedding night, We were doing crisis management. We were dealing with fallout from someone else's terrible choices. We fell asleep at dawn without even opening the champagne. We fell asleep in our clothes, exhausted and emotionally drained. The next morning, Jake's phone rang early. His mom, sounding frantic. She told him that Monica had gone to Ryan's brother's house. The place where Ryan was staying with the kids. She had tried to force her way in. When Ryan's brother would not let her in, she started screaming. She started pounding on the door, demanding to see her children. Neighbors heard the commotion and called the police. She was detained but not arrested. And then Jake looked at me, exhausted and apologetic and heartbroken, and asked if we could postpone our honeymoon to Mexico for a few days. He felt like he needed to be here to help manage the situation with his family. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him that Monica did not get to ruin our honeymoon too, that we had already sacrificed enough, that this was supposed to be our time. But looking at his face, looking at how much pain he was in, looking at how torn he was between his loyalty to his new wife and his responsibility to his family, I agreed. We postponed the honeymoon. I ended up going back to our apartment alone while Jake went to his parents' house to deal with everything. I stood there looking at my wedding dress hanging on the closet door. Looking at this dress that I had fought Monica about. This dress that I had stood my ground to wear. I thought about Mrs. Anderson's cake. I thought about all those handmade sugar flowers that had been destroyed. I thought about Monica's smirk as she was destroying it. I thought about her deliberate malice. I thought about how she had ruined what was supposed to be a beautiful day. My best friend came over and I just broke down. Ugly crying on our couch. The kind of crying where you cannot catch your breath, where your whole body shakes, where all the emotion just pours out. She kept saying I did the right thing, but I kept thinking about Ryan's face, about those kids who were too young to understand why their mom could not come home. I kept thinking about whether I could have handled things differently, whether I should have kept the information about Marcus private. We finally left for Mexico 4 days later. The resort was beautiful, ocean view balcony, perfect weather, palm trees, the beach. All the things we had dreamed about. But before we could even unpack our luggage, Jake's phone rang. It was his mom. Monica was having a breakdown. Ryan had changed all the locks. The kids kept asking when Mommy was coming home. Could Jake come back to help? For the entire week we were in Mexico, Jake's phone never stopped, never. Calls during breakfast, texts during dinner. His mom, Monica, his brother, everyone calling with updates and drama. Monica called crying because Marcus, her affair partner, had blocked her number and deleted all his social media when he realized everyone knew about the affair. He did not want to deal with the consequences. He disappeared. He ghosted her completely. Jake's mom actually blamed me. She called me and said, maybe if Emma had not revealed everything so spectacularly at the wedding, Monica and Marcus could have figured things out. Like that was a reasonable expectation. Like I was supposed to protect Monica's affair. I lost it. I told her that Monica betrayed her family. Monica stole Ryan's money to fund an affair. Monica destroyed my wedding cake. All I did was tell the truth. I did not lie. I did not fabricate anything. I spoke truth. She called me cruel. She said I should have thought about the consequences. I should have thought about the kids. And I told her, Monica should have thought about her kids before she cheated on her husband, before she ruined my wedding, before she lived a double life for months. Jake hung up on his mom. We sat by the pool in silence. My hands were shaking. We just sat there trying to enjoy what was supposed to be romantic, and instead we were dealing with family trauma. Every romantic moment we tried to have was interrupted by family drama. Every sunset was interrupted by a phone call. Every meal had a text message attached. It was not a honeymoon. It was just Mexico with phone calls and stress and worry. When we got back, Jake's brother picked us up from the airport. He filled us in on everything. The family was divided completely. Some people were on my side, saying Monica needed to face consequences. Others thought I was vindictive. They said I should have handled it privately. They said I had overreacted. They said I had been cruel. 2 weeks after the wedding, Ryan's lawyer contacted me. They wanted the security footage of Monica destroying the cake for the divorce proceedings. They wanted to show her character and behavior patterns to the judge. They wanted the video as evidence of who she really was. I gave it to them immediately. I did not hesitate. I wanted to help Ryan. I wanted to support him during this terrible time. Jake's mom called, crying, saying I was trying to destroy Monica's life, that sharing the video was cruel and unnecessary, that I was being vindictive. But the video showed what it showed. Monica deliberately destroying my property and lying about it. It was evidence of her character. It was relevant to custody decisions. It was fair to share. Things got worse before they got better. Monica lost a major client at work when the client's wife heard about the affair. She struggled financially with legal fees and could not afford her apartment anymore. She had to move back in with her parents at age 38. 3 months after the wedding, we had to give depositions for Ryan's custody hearing. Jake and I had to sit down with lawyers and answer questions. Sitting across from Monica in that lawyer's office, answering questions about her behavior, the affair, everything. Monica's lawyer tried to paint me as jealous and vindictive. He said I had planned to publicly humiliate her. He said I had fabricated the affair story as revenge for the cake. I stayed calm. I told the truth. I kept quiet about Marcus's texts all day until Monica destroyed my cake and lied about it. That is when I revealed she had been lying to her husband too. I did not plan this. This was not premeditated. This was reactive. This was responding to her actions. At the actual custody hearing, things got even worse. I had to testify about what I had witnessed. The judge watched the security footage of Monica deliberately destroying the cake. He watched her smile as she wrote "Oops." He saw her deliberate malice. And then Monica confronted me in the courthouse bathroom. She got in my face. She said, "You ruined my life. You took my kids. You destroyed everything." She was furious. Her lawyer had to physically pull her away from me. But not before Monica slapped me across the face. In front of a courthouse security guard. In front of witnesses. They filed a report. The judge was informed immediately. And that incident, along with everything else, meant Ryan got primary custody. Monica got supervised visitation every other weekend. I watched her completely break down in that courtroom. And even after everything she had done to me, even after all the sabotage and the lying and the destruction, it was horrible to watch. It was painful. She had lost her children. Her marriage was over. Her career had suffered. Her entire life had collapsed. It has been over a year now. Monica has been in therapy. Real therapy, not just for show. She is apparently working on her issues, working on her entitlement, trying to take responsibility for her actions. Jake and I went to family therapy too. We needed help dealing with his family's pressure. We needed help dealing with his mom's anger at me. We needed help processing all of it. We set boundaries. Firm boundaries. We made it clear what we would and would not accept from his family. We said that if anyone blamed me for the affair, or if anyone tried to make me feel guilty, we would leave. We said that we would not participate in family events where we felt attacked or judged. Family dinners are civil now. Not warm, not close, but civil, functional. We can all be in the same room without open warfare. Monica and I will never be friends. We will never go shopping together or call each other just to chat. We will never have that kind of relationship. But we found something better than fake closeness. We found real peace. She can be at family dinners. We can talk politely about neutral topics. We can exist in the same room without conflict. It is not perfect, but it is healthy. Sometimes the best ending is not perfect reconciliation. Sometimes it is just honest coexistence, accepting that some relationships will always be complicated, but setting boundaries so everyone can move forward without hurting each other. My wedding did not end up being about Jake and me celebrating our love. It became the day everything fell apart in his family. The day Monica's double life was exposed. The day consequences finally caught up with years of entitled behavior and cruelty. Would I do it differently if I could go back? I honestly do not know. Maybe I would have handled it more privately. Maybe I would have told Ryan in private instead of revealing everything publicly. Maybe I would have kept quiet about Marcus and let things play out differently. But what I do know is this: standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, telling the truth even when it is uncomfortable, even when it creates waves, that is not vindictive. That is not cruel. That is not wrong. That is just refusing to be a doormat while someone tries to wipe their feet on your wedding day. That is protecting your own dignity and your own peace. That is choosing yourself.